Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, got my line mate Matt with me, and today we're going to be talking about Duncan Keith. Tampa wins the Stanley Cup, and our defensive grades for the defensive players on the Chicago Blackhawks. So we will start it off with Tampa won the Stanley Cup, and Kucherov is going full Russian and having the time of his life right now. Got a sponsorship with Bud Light, and he's living the life right now. But the biggest news is Duncan Keith. It's rough, man. It's rough to even consider a Chicago-less Duncan Keith, man. Without him, it sucks. But we got a good haul back. We got Caleb Jones and I believe a third-round draft pick, which is I think is really going to help out. But it's tough to see him go. But it's time to move on, man. But I just can't forget him getting hit in the mouth with that puck in 2010 and not missing a beat, really.
Yeah, man. It's a sad day, but we got to remember the 2 Norris trophies, the 3 Stanley Cups, and just I think that last goal that he scored against Tampa, that was like I think like the end of his glory days here. And he went out good, but the last couple of years have been pretty rough. But I'm gonna miss him. But like we were saying, I think we won that trade. We got some cap space, and we got to rebuild now. It's time for the future, new chapter.
Yeah, it looks like the offensive core is doing pretty well, but a defensive core is another thing. What are we gonna have? Who can step up into Duncan Keith's shoes? I don't believe that it's Connor Murphy. We need a similar type of player, a guy who can move the puck and someone who can play defense as well, not just be an offensive defenseman. Who in the organization right now do you think this is their opportunity to step up to be a possible number 1 defenseman on the Chicago Blackhawks?
Nobody on our roster right now.
Nobody.
Not yet.
Okay.
I think Ian Mitchell and Bodin are very close, but still hoping for that Seth Jones trade.
Yeah. I think we're both really pining for that, man. I wish I could talk to the guy and say, hey, man, we got a lot to offer here.
Yeah, what jersey number you want? Send him a tweet.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man, what number do you want, man? We'll work it out for you. You can't wear number 2, though, but we can work out something else for you.
I think he's number 3, and he can't wear that either.
Yeah, he can't.
33.
Oh, yeah, like Dirk Graham, yeah.
Yeah, Dustin Bufflin. Yep.
Wow, man, we thought of that Dirk Graham thing at the same time.
I remember that, man.
Yeah, man, I do too. I remember that stash, that real thick stash.
Junkyard dog, man. He was like a Davey Bolin.
He was.
90s.
He was a rough guy, man.
Yeah, he was good. Good captain.
Yeah, he was. So in a perfect world, let's do like a for instance. Do you think that we want Seth Jones? We want them to go for Seth Jones, right? Is Dougie Hamilton in the cards, or is there another player that you would like say, Savard?
Yeah, I mean, I would take all of them. I mean, if we got one of them, I'd be happy. At least we're trying and we're showing we care. I prefer probably a David Savard. Got that right. Just because he played great in the playoffs for Tampa. And his style is mean. He's going to hit you, he's going to block shots, and he's going to make a smart play and get off and then do it again. He's not going to take chances, which is good. He's responsible. And that's what rubs off on these young guys. And we got too many, gunslingers that are just going to go. And they need to learn when it's okay to go and when it's not okay to go. And I think that's Bodequist's problem. He just goes. And he can't recover. And we need to find somebody that can make sure, hey, you go, I'll stay. It's my job.
Yeah, that's a good point. And in doing so, I think that maybe let's move on to the defensemen and maybe give them some grades for this past season.
Alrighty. Let's start off with Bodin. 19 games played, 2 goals, 4 assists. He had 14 hits, and his average ice time was 13 minutes and 56 seconds. And he finished with a +1. So I think I would probably give him a B- because he needs more of a chance. They got to get him in there. But for a young guy to step up and take it like that, I think he did pretty well.
I'm going to give him a B because he came in and actually I got a lot of this from Wyatt Kalynuk too, but we'll get into that later. He came in and he wasn't really noticeable in a bad way, and he wasn't very noticeable in a good way. He looked like he was playing hockey, and he was playing pretty well. And especially for being a young kid coming in and playing in a tough division, I think that he played pretty well. I don't think that he deserved to be taken out of the lineup when he was taken out of the lineup, and because I would have liked to have seen him play more and grow more. Considering that he was taken out of the lineup, came back for a little bit, taken out of the lineup, came back for a little bit. I think that kind of might have derailed him a little bit in his development, and you can kind of tell from his performance later on in the year. But I think that he played well, and I'd give him a B.
I agree with you. I think that they need to stop playing musical chairs. Give the guy a fair shot. You gave Zadorov a shot. Give him a fair shot. But I did like that he would jump into the play, and when he did, he usually produced. Like, he made something happen. He had something to do with that goal that they scored. Right. I did like that a lot from him.
That's a really great point that you just made, because there was a lot of times where he wasn't getting the assist, but he had something to do with the play to make that happen. There was a couple shots that he took that created chances, and as you mentioned, Zadorov being in there, I think that he deserved more ice time than Zadorov did, because there was a lot of times where Zadorov would make some mistakes in the defensive end, and Beaudenji, he just looked better. He just looked better playing defense than Zadorov did.
Agreed. Well, moving on to Bodquist, 35 games played, 2 goals, 14 assists, 29 hits, -7. For all the hype we have to hear about this guy, all the Twitter guys, he's so great. I gave him a D. Like I just said, too much hype and not enough production, not enough consistency, and I'm ready to move on from him.
I would give him, from the hype, I would give him a D-. And the reason being is that there were many times where I would see him trying to skate it up into the zone, and it looked like his skates were in cinder blocks. Now, if he had an injury or something, I'm not trying to rag on the guy, but if you are a puck pushing defenseman, you should have a skating ability. And I don't believe that he has very good skating ability.
Slow.
He's slow. I think that he's small, and I think that he makes bad decisions a lot of the time. And so that's where I'm at with him, D-.
Okay, we are at Calvin DeHaan, 44 games played, 1 goal, 9 assists, 99 hits, and he averaged 18:37 ice time, and he did finish with a -16. I thought for, a veteran who's been around, I know our defense isn't good, and we were asking him to do a little too much, but I had to give him a D because that plus-minus is pretty bad, and we need these older guys to be better. And we might be losing him in the expansion draft, but I think he's got to play better if he wants to be a factor on any team he's playing with.
I'd give him a C, and the reason I'd give him a C is because playing on this team is not an easy thing, because I think the defensive system is incredibly lacking, and I think that he's trying to weigh in between playing in this defensive scheme and his instinct. And his -16 doesn't really show, I think, that his ability and actually his performance during the year. I thought that he played pretty well. He wasn't out of position a lot, and he wasn't making tons of mistakes in his own zone. I think that his minus is because, I mean, dude, these could have been in games when, you know, Malcolm Subban was getting, you know,
Shell shocked.
getting
Yeah.
shell shocked, you know. So, and especially with the performance of some of the goaltenders, I think the plus minus is a little off for his performance for this
He
year.
seemed frustrated too. Like when
Yeah.
you could tell, like whatever partner he had, he always seemed like he was pissed off,
Mhm.
and he didn't. I don't think he really wants to play here, quite honestly.
Mm.
And I don't blame him when you're getting rocked every night and getting outshot, and you're pretty much defending the whole game
Right.
and not, you're not producing points and stuff. But
I like them.
okay, yeah, I like him. I think he's going to end up being gone because what else do we have to offer unless he takes Dylan Strome? But I highly doubt that. But we will move on to Wyatt Kalynuk, your guy. 24 games played, 4 goals, 5 assists. He was a -6. He had 25 hits, and he averaged about 16 ice time. I gave him a C. I just think just because he needs more time, but I love everything that's happening with him. But I didn't want to give him anything bigger because or better because we just really haven't seen enough. 24 games is not a lot. It's not enough to give him anything higher than or anything lower than a C.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a C plus. This guy had zero hype about him. You heard really nothing about the guy, and then out of nowhere he busts onto the scene. And you know what, man? I thought that he played pretty well.
A lot of potential.
He had some good passes, and he skates the puck really well. He's usually I didn't see him out of position at all, really. He seemed to play really good defense when everybody was moving the puck up. He was moving it with everybody. I thought that he played well. He skated well. And I thought that he brought some positives to the offense and the defense. He didn't seem afraid to take shots, and he was willing to play defense. I liked him. I like to see what he has coming up, but I'd give him a C plus, considering he was a relative nobody coming in.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was, honestly. So he surprised me. And getting 15 points your first season is not bad for a defenseman.
For 24 games.
Yeah.
All we need is his Doc Holliday.
Yeah. So now we are at Dunks. 54 games played, 4 goals, 11 assists, 15 points, 33 hits. -13. Yikes. Well, when you're on the ice for 23 minutes, you're average, and you're going to give up goals. So
With a bunch of rookies.
I gave Dunks a C because he's a legend, but obviously we know he's on the decline. He's old. He's 38. I think next week. So I mean, you can't really expect much. And good luck in Edmonton, bud. I think it's going to be the same kind of, well, his plus minus is obviously going to be better with McDavid and Draisaitl scoring on every shot. But we'll see how he can do in the playoffs when they don't have a goalie. But I still love the guy. But I gave him a C.
I'm going to give him a C plus. He scored 4 more goals this year than he did last year. He literally had to carry the entire defensive core on his back. And he honestly couldn't play his position the way that he knows how to play his position, the way he's played it his entire life, because the Blackhawks needed him to play a different way than how he's always played. I think it was an impossible task, especially with how much he was playing every night. And I would give the guy a C plus. I thought that he was a warrior. He's always been a warrior. And I thought that he played well.
Yep, number 2 will be hanging in the rafters as
Most
soon
definitely.
as he's done. Yep. We are at Connor Murphy. He played 50 games, 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points. He had 102 hits. He was a +1, one of the only Hawks to finish in the pluses, and he averaged about 22 minutes a game. I gave him a B, and I'm not a big fan of him, but I mean, he kind of played well when he didn't lose his helmet every shift, like we joked about. But you know what? Like you were saying, he might be the guy to be the next Seabrook, possibly, if we're not getting Seth Jones say this could be the guy, and we might have no other choice. So hopefully he could take it and go with it.
I'm giving Connor Murphy a B minus. Actually, I'm going to give him a C plus because um,
The helmet thing, right?
he gets beat sometimes. And to be honest with you, his whole helmet thing was completely ridiculous. Now, Matt, you're an NHL player, right? Think about this. You're an NHL player. You lose your helmet and they score a goal on you. If
Twice.
it was me, I would be thinking, I have to do whatever it is to keep my fucking brain bucket on my head, because they just scored a goal on us. That's what I would be thinking. Nope.
This happened 2 nights in a row.
Actually, I think this happened for 3 games, man.
No, 2 goals though.
Yes, 2 goals in 2
Yes.
games in a row, and his
Yes.
and his helmet came off in a third in a third consecutive game, but there was no goal on that. And
That's a penalty though. If he doesn't get off the ice right away, that's a penalty. That's happened to Taves before when they first
wow.
wrote that rule. If your helmet comes off, you go right to the bench. He stayed on the ice and got a penalty. I
Wow.
think the Hawks killed it, but that can kill you.
yeah, it
I
can.
agree with you.
I mean, hey, look, I know he wants to be Craig McTavish, who doesn't? But, at the same time, you got to do the right thing. I give him a C plus because his effort was definitely noted. I thought that he played hard. I think that he plays good, but he just seems like a prospect that just needs to go to the next level. It's like he's average, but we need him to be a little bit more. And
It's his time now. I mean,
yeah,
gotta-
and I
now's
hope
the
that
time.
I hope that this is his opportunity to do that.
Okay, well, the next guy, I was really happy we acquired him, Stillman.
Yes.
21 games played, 1 goal, no assists. He did have 37 hits. He was a +5. I'm not sure if some of that carried over from the Florida games, but still, he finished plus. He averaged 18 minutes a game. And I actually gave him a B because I see a lot of potential in this guy. I was really happy with that trade. And I think he was actually the main piece. A lot of people say it was the other guy, but I think this guy was Bowman's main target. And you know what? I think this is the type of guy we need. Defense first. And I think he's going to be great on this team. He's going to make the team next year. He'll probably be maybe the 4th, 5th guy, depending on who we get, but he could be higher.
I really like him, man. Him and Wyatt were my 2 guys that kind of really stuck out to me this year on the defensive side. Just their effort. I'm going to stick with him. His effort, his awareness in the defensive zone. He hit a few guys. He had some really good passes that I noticed. I think that he's got really good passing ability, moving the puck. And I thought that he played great. I can't wait to see more of him, to be honest with you. I think that he is a defensive defenseman with some offensive upside that I think that we need. But he doesn't look to be solely offensive oriented. He seems to be a defensive minded defenseman that has offensive upside.
Okay, next, your boy, Zadorov. 55 games played, 1 goal, 7 assists. He had 8 points. He was actually a +1, and he averaged about 19 minutes a game, which I was surprised when I read that stat. I could not believe it. And he had 190 hits. I gave him a C because, hey, I mean, with this Hawks team, to finish a plus, that's a positive. I don't think they should pay him $4 or $5 million. I think they should pay him $3 million maybe, if they even want to keep him, if they have a place for him. But I would not go any higher than a C.
I'm going to give this guy a C minus because whenever I notice him on the ice, he's doing one of 2 things. He's hitting somebody or he's getting burned, and he got burned a lot. And he doesn't have any skating ability to play as a defenseman. If they wanted to, they can move him up to like a 4th line left wing and have him run around and hit people on the checking line. because I think that he could do that pretty well. But I don't think that he's a defenseman, and I don't think that he belongs on the defensive core. I think it's a miracle that he's a plus because he was probably on the ice when everybody was scoring.
Last but not least, Ian Mitchell, 39 games played, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. He was a -10. He averaged about 15 minutes a game, and he had 18 hits. I gave Mitchell a B, even though he finished with a bad plus-minus. But him and Beaudin, I think these two guys could be Duncan Keith-like. And he needs a chance. It's the same situation. You can't take him out for 5 games, put him in for 1, take him out for 6. You got to keep him in there. Let's see what the kid can do. And I think next year might be his chance to prove it.
I really hope so. I like him. I'm going to give him a B as well. He is you heard about him for quite a while, about Ian Mitchell, that he was a good player, that he was ready. Where did he come out of? Was it Boston?
I forget what college, but his first game, man, he reminded me a lot of Brian Campbell. He's skating the puck up. He was aggressive, and I know you need defensemen like that, but I was impressed with him. I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, 100%. I thought that he seemed confident. He seemed very confident. He wasn't afraid of the puck. Whenever he got it, he would skate with it. He would hold on to it for a little bit longer. He would pass, which is something Boquist cannot do. He went to Denver. He was captain of the Denver. Yeah. I like him, man. I think that he shows a lot of promise. I think that he plays well. He doesn't seem to be a defensive liability, even though that he is touted as an offensive defenseman. And I like him, and I can't wait to see more development from him.
So we could possibly lose 3 guys, if you think about it. We could lose Boquist through a trade, Dahan through expansion draft, and not signing Zadorov.
Right.
So the only guys left would be Stillman, Murphy, Kalynuk, and Beaudin. And then you figure, hey, we get Savard or Jones. I like our defense a lot better. Oh, actually, we lost Keith already, too. So there could be another spot even open. So I like our defense if it happens that way. But overall this year, I give them a D- because they were the worst part of our team.
Yeah. And I don't know if I can give the guys that grade, because I think that they played as a group. I think that they played well. I think that the problem with the defense is the system, and I think that falls on the coaches, which I guess we could do another day. But I think that is genuinely the problem: is the defensive system that is instilled by, we'll say, Jeremy Colliton. I mean, it's his team. They need to figure out a way to play defense and play offense at the same time.
Yeah, they need to call Barry Trotz and get some tips, because he can turn defensemen into Norris caliber guys.
Yeah.
That's how good his system is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that they want to play this high octane balls to the walls, offensive system. And you know what, man? It doesn't work.
You can against certain teams, but
right.
You have to adjust. I mean, look what Tampa did. Tampa played against the Islanders. They adjusted.
Right.
And they played against the Canadians. They had to adjust again because they're very Islander-like. You know what I mean?
I thought the Islanders were a better team, though.
Maybe they are, but Tampa found a way to win. And they got a solid goalie, and they adjusted. They could play mean, nasty hitting, or they could just outskill you like they did at the Hurricanes. They just steamrolled those guys.
Yeah, they did. I wasn't expecting that. Well, actually,
no.
I want to say partly the Hurricanes lost because of themselves, because they just couldn't stay out of the box, man.
Well, the goalie kind of choked too.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but
Nedeljkovic,
yeah. But even I thought Tampa's toughest series was against the Panthers. They were playing nasty. It was old time hockey, and they were Tampa. I thought Tampa would. I thought they were going to lose, and I was getting ready to say, "Oh, you were right, Mike." But it was. I thought that could have been a great Stanley Cup final, man. Florida versus Florida.
I think their toughest was against the Islanders. I think the Islanders, I think the Islanders were better in every facet than what they were thinking. And the Islanders just would not die, man. They would not go away. And
it's just the offense. It just kind of died for the
yeah,
Islanders. You know,
it did.
they don't have guys that can take over a game. And
Right.
I've been hearing Tarasenko is a huge interest for those guys.
I can understand why. They need somebody who can score.
They need a guy,
He's
a
big.
game breaker.
He's a big guy who can score.
Yeah, you need a game breaker, and they might get him.
Man. Well, it's got some interesting times coming up, man. We've got free agency. We got the draft. You know, what's going to happen? Who's going to fill out these spots, these last spots that we've got? You know, really interested to see these top spots, these top openings that we have, because these young guys aren't ready to play top line minutes yet. Midline minutes, yeah, sure, no problem, but not top line minutes. To be honest with you, they've got to go for Seth Jones, man. They got to go for Seth Jones, and hopefully we can get David Savard too. Even if we got David Savard, man, that would be a big plus for us.
Yeah, the way he plays, he'll prevent goals. That's what you need.
Have him, and then tell Stillman, like, hey man, look, we don't need any offense from you. Just don't let the puck get in the net and hit guys. You know, he can do that.
Yep. Make smart passes out. Do your job. Get off the ice. Do it again. That's all we ask. Don't be fancy.
Well, guys, this is what we got for you tonight. Be sure to check us out. Go hit up our social media, Twitter, Facebook. We love talking with everybody. You know, we've been messaging and commenting and talking with a lot of people, and it's a lot of fun to do. And you know what, Matt? We have to do our shout outs, man, from our Twitter shout outs.
Piercy's beard.
Piercy's beard. All right.
Ooh, beauty. not a Joe Thornton like, but it's pretty damn close. And you're not hanging out with Austin Matthews, so you're not that cool.
Right. You know, I mean, you'd have to have a mustache to hang out with him. So
Piercy's dog has a better beard than I have.
Oh yeah.
I'll get there one day. Give me some time.
Well, cool, man. But anyways, guys, hit us up on Twitter. We love talking to you guys. It's a lot of fun. And this is all that we got for you tonight. This is the Tomahawk, and we're out of here.